Hello, I'm Jace, and this is my 1981 Toyota pickup. Okay, we'll just get right into this. So the previous owner of this pickup was using it as their field vehicle in their orchard they had, and they had almost no remorse for the body at all, so there's plenty of dings and dents around here. So that's why I didn't feel too bad about going ahead and modifying this pickup the way I did, because it's not like a clean example of a Toyota pickup. Therefore, when I drift it, or if I get a couple scratches or dings around here, I don't feel too bad. So body-wise, it's almost stock. I mean, I haven't really done much cosmetically. How do I even do this? I don't even know what I'm... So let's just start with the exterior, then we'll go interior, engine bay, and do an overview of the suspension. From the outside, you notice the C4 Corvette salad shooters. 16 by 8.5, and you can tell it's fairly low compared to stock. It's lowered around 5 inches. You can tell this one's polished because I cracked the other one. It's quite obvious that this thing is original paint, and it has these cool little stripes on here with this Wind Rider design. I'm not too sure about the history of this. Could have been a dealer add-on or some sort of trim package, but I haven't really found too much information on it, but it's kind of cool on there. So to run these Corvette wheels, I have lug adapters that go from 5x114 to the 5x120 Corvette lug pattern, and those also stick it out about an inch from factory. Working our way towards the back, this is kind of like the second most obvious thing, is this roll bar I have going through the cab into the little main hoop for my harnesses and stuff. And then bolted to that roll bar is this Chase Bays radiator, originally made for an FD RX-7. I have these custom brackets that are welded to the roll bar that bolt onto the radiator. As far as the fans, they're also from Chase Bays. They're dual 1700 CFM, and for the track, they do plenty of cooling. They keep this thing nice and cool even after all those hot laps. So throughout the whole truck, I have converted the coolant lines to all -16 AN, and I got those from Racetronics. And then this coolant fill neck also came from Chase Bays. And for the overflow, we're just using some random Mountain Dew bottle I had laying around. I do have a nicer setup, but I have yet to install it, but that's just waiting for another day. And poking through the bed here, you can see my frame notch sticking out a little bit. And that's because in the rear, I did a 4-link setup and got rid of the factory leaf springs, and that allows me to run coilovers. And that way I can adjust my spring rate and my dampening and dial in the ride height and overall ride quality that I like. For the coilovers, all front and rear, they're the QA1 US 304s. For the spring rate in the back, I'm running 550 inch-pounds. And in the front, I'm running 850 inch-pounds. All right, let's go ahead and pop the hood here. So under the hood, we have a Lexus 1UZ from a 91 LS400. For the most part, it is 100% stock. I am running the stock ECU and the stock harness that has been converted to a standalone by the guys over at LexusV8.com. They did a great job. For the most part, I didn't really have to do much modifications to get this thing to fit. As far as engine goes, I did have to clearance the lower oil pan a little bit to clear the steering rack. And I also went ahead and deleted the AC and power steering. And I have the Volvo electric power steering instead. We can get into that a little bit later. Since I deleted the power steering and the AC, it only leaves the alternator needing to be driven off the crank pulley. So I do have this one belt going directly to the alternator, and since it is a stretch fit belt, I don't need any sort of tensioner because the belt is its own tensioner. For the oiling setup, I do have this Grassroots oil cooler that is mounted to the front core support. So these Dash 10 AN lines are running to this remote oil filter housing bracket that I bought off of Summit, and these AN lines are just tapped into there. As far as the block goes, you can see that adapter down there. That gets rid of the factory oil filter housing bracket, which is way too big, and it kind of gets in the way of the frame rail here, and that's why I have it relocated, because the factory one was just way too tight and bulky. So this kind of just frees up a little bit more room and lets me pinpoint where I want that oil filter to be in the system. For the engine mounts, they are factory LS400 engine mounts with these pucks I got off of McMaster car, with these little L brackets I made off the side of the frame, and I haven't had any issues with those yet. So far they have been working perfect. So I did have another intake setup on here that kind of had this air filter over in the corner, kind of underneath this bracket here. I really appreciate Mikey and that he gave me a bunch of usable parts that I can go ahead and dial in my build with, because this intake actually is in a lot better spot than the original one that I had. I've got this K&N hydrophobic air sock on the intake as well that helps with the water kicking up from the tires. So as far as power steering goes, so I wasn't originally planning on running power steering. I was going to do a manual rack, but my buddy Tom gave me a good deal on this Volvo electric power steering pump. I don't have too many complaints about the Volvo pump. It is a little bit laggy sometimes when you go from right to left a little bit too quick, but it's nothing that I can't really get used to. So back here I also have a power steering cooler, so it keeps the fluid nice and cool. So let's get into suspension. So when it comes to StabFab's rack and pinion conversion kits and his coilover conversion brackets, there is no better setup. I've got his coilover brackets here. I've got his upper control arms, as well as his rack and pinion conversion kit. And when it comes to handling and these older Toyota pickups, the way that this rack and pinion completely changes the feel of the car is just insane, and I recommend this thing to literally anybody who's willing to make these Toyota pickups try to handle well. I'm not too sure if you can see there, but I went ahead and cut 1 inch out of both steering knuckles so I can get some more angle out of this stock Toyota pickup knuckle. Do have the Techno Toy tension rods on there. I have snapped 2 of them, 2 separate occasions, so I do plan on converting to StabFab's tension rod setup. As you couldn't already tell, I have no aprons on this car. I've cut the aprons right here on both sides and right here. So I've kept the original front core support for all the front headlight mounting brackets and stuff, so I didn't have to go ahead and fabricate a bracket for every single thing. And I just figured that's such a pain. Why not just leave this front core support, leave all those brackets? Not that they're doing much aligning anyways, but I have made these little fender brackets here out of some steel, some square tubing, and I went ahead and put some nut zerts in here. That helps give it some rigidity. I mean, this thing is pretty solid. I have that on both sides here. Enough with the engine. I think we should go check out the interior. When it comes to the interior, there's not too much going on here. I've got a carpet kit from Rock Auto, the factory floor mats. The dash is 100% stock, and I've got this LZ MFG steering wheel that I got for a good price from my buddy Brock, and that thing has been doing pretty good. It's almost on its way out, but for now, it does the job. Got my little shark over there in the corner too. Factory door cards here. I've got these Sparco Sprint racing seats here. They do the job. For Sparco seats, these are probably the most affordable ones you can buy brand new, and for what I do, they do a great job. And with those seats, I've got these RaceQuip 5-point harnesses with this little cam lock mechanism here. And then here you can get a better view of, sorry, let me try to get it to focus. And in here you can get a better view of the roll cage. There's the roll cage there, peeking through the back. So as far as the transmission goes, this transmission's from an 05 Toyota Tacoma. It is an R155, which is very, very similar to the R154 that all the 2JZ, 1JZ guys have behind their 1,000 horsepower cars and stuff. It is almost the same transmission, besides the first and second gearing are a little bit different, and then the rest of the gears are pretty much the same. So it's plenty strong enough for what I'm trying to do. And the radio, though the radio still works, it sucks because the antenna isn't hooked up. I have this DeWalt Bluetooth speaker shoved between the seats. Makes it nice and easy. Other than that, there's not too much. So I hope I didn't miss anything. If you think I did, let me know in the comments. I can touch on that in a future video maybe, and I'll see you guys next time.